Good morning, Facebook. I am about 8 days out from having sinus surgery. I didn't do the initial video. I was gonna, and then life happened, so I didn't get that done. But I thought it would be very important for me to come back and do the post video. I've had several surgeries. I've had both knees scoped. Um, I've had my back cut open, my L4 and 5 worked on with 21 staples left behind for proof. I've had a hernia surgery. I've had compartmental syndrome surgery. But I am here to tell you that this sinus surgery, it is something that I've never dealt with before. I can breathe now. It hurts tremendously. Um, I'm happy that I can breathe, but it hurts tremendously, and I am really questioning um, questioning life itself right now. I have not had my meds this morning. Um, it's probably about 4:40 in the morning here where I am in Kansas. But I guess my symptoms were I was having dizziness. I would stand up and get dizzy, and a couple of times I even fell over. Really bad headaches, and so I went to the doctor, and they did a CT scan to see that I had free flowing fluid in my sinus cavities. So I was sent to an ENT doctor, Dr. Colleen Johnson. Very amazing lady. Very amazing lady. If I could give her 10 stars, I would. Um, but she explained to me that that fluid in there that was just floating around, that couldn't go anywhere for whatever reason, was throwing my equilibrium off. Or at least that's what we suspect. Um, she also said that I had a deviated septum. Don't know how it got deviated, but I guess it did somehow. So, last Monday, she did the surgery. The day of the surgery, oh man, it was great. Of course, I went home with the strip of gauze on my nose, and that was it. Um, I didn't feel bad, but I was unaware that I was still under anesthesia and all that other wonderful drugs. Tuesday was not bad. Wednesday was not bad. In fact, I even got out of the house and went to church for a short time on Wednesday. Um, Thursday, things got tremendously worse. The pain was excruciating. Um, I had a headache all in the sinus areas. My eyes, the back of my eyes hurt. My teeth still hurt. Um, I don't have any taste. Um, my nose, they talked about my nose bleeding excessively for the first few days. It did not bleed excessively, but it did bleed. Um, and they also talked about doing the saline rinse every couple of hours, which I found myself doing it probably every hour and a half or so because When that sinus area gets dry, it hurts terribly bad. Um, but even with that, that was still painful because it's saline, salt water, and it just burned. Um, the first few days, I was kind of worried because it wouldn't flow evenly from both sides. So I ended up calling the doctor, asking about that, and she explained that that's normal because I had more work done on one side more than the other. Today, um, that's not an issue. I'm still doing the saline rinse, and it's flowing pretty evenly on both sides. I will say that yesterday I had my follow-up visit with the doctor, and she suctioned my brain out. Or at least that's what it felt like. Um, they used what looked to be like 3 or 4 inch um, metal rods, very thin, that they hooked onto a suction machine. A couple of them were straight, a couple of them were bent, and they used some forceps or something to open up my nose, and she stuck those things deep down inside of my head and just sucked out that whole area, and it hurts so bad. Now she told me before we even did the surgery that that day was gonna come and that it was gonna hurt really really bad. So it was not um, a surprise. Thank God she told me because I was expecting it to hurt. They used some nasal spray to deaden the area, but yeah, no. Yeah, no. No. It made it tolerable, but it was still painful. And I found myself with water running out of my eyes, and there was nothing that I could do to stop that. It hurt. Um, and again, I say she was amazing because she recognized that it was hurting, and she talked me through what she was doing, why she was doing it, and because of that, I was able to get through that because I just wanted to stop the whole thing. Matter of fact, at one point, um, she was checking my cheek area, and it felt as if she kind of stabbed me in. Oh my gosh. But she was explaining why it felt that way. And so all I could do was sit there and hold on. And then after she was done, and I'm sitting there questioning my manhood because my face is full of tears. She said, "Can you breathe?" And I says, "Yeah, sure I can breathe because, I'm breathing out of my mouth." She says, "No, breathe." So I took a breath out of my nose, and it was amazing. I don't think I've taken such a deep breath out of my nose uh, in a long time. That hurt. Oh my God, it hurt. It felt like someone had just stabbed me in the brain, but I could breathe. And she explained that it would get progressively better um, thereafter. I went home. She gave me a different antibiotic because the antibiotic that I had been taking, I guess it wasn't working for the infection that I had in my sinus cavity. So that new med, coupled with the pain medicine the oxycodone that they gave me. Um, I took both of those and it put me right to sleep. Best sleep I've had since I've had the surgery. Probably 3 hours straight is what I slept yesterday. I haven't had a 3 hour stretch of sleep since that surgery. Um, it just hurt. Um, they explain to you that you're going to have to sleep sitting up. Yes, because it's going to feel like you're drowning if you don't. Um, I slept sitting up, but because you can't breathe through your nose, you have to breathe through your mouth. Well, that gives you cotton mouth. When you go to sleep, it feels as if your throat is so dry that it begins to stick together. So now you can't breathe at all. So you automatically wake up, take that deep breath, and what I found is that I had to have some water right next to me. So I would have to take a drink of water right away just so that I could breathe. Now, that might have just been in my head, but that was what I felt. It just wasn't working any other way. So I would sleep 45 minutes every couple of hours or so, and I was back up. Over these last 8 hours, yeah, about 45 minutes every couple of hours is what I would do. Tremendously exhausted. I know I keep using these big words, tremendously, all of that kind of stuff, but I don't have any other words to explain the pain that um, I am feeling. Saying all of that, I was told in advance that it would be this way. I was told in advance that it would be this way, and that when I healed up, it would have all been worth it. Well, I can tell you at this point, a day after my follow up visit to where I believe she stabbed me in my brains, because that's what it felt like. Um, I believe it's worth it because I can breathe. And the major part to that is um, my headaches have lessened. Um, my dizziness has lessened. And I'm guessing that it's not gone because I still have the infection and probably the fluid and all of that kind of stuff. But when I left out of the doctor's office yesterday after she had suctioned all of that stuff out, I had no symptoms of dizziness at all. I had no symptoms of headache other than the pain from the surgery. So I'm optimistic that that has taken care of my major problem. That's my prayer, at least. But for the next 7 days, I am optimistic that the pain is going to lessen more and more every day, and that this too shall pass. Until then, I'm going to take some more of these pain meds to get me through this day. And I'm going to stop sending my friends text messages asking them to help me, because there's nothing worse than knowing that your friend is in pain and there's nothing that you can do. So I'll keep my mouth shut and ride this one out. And I may or may not do another video in 7 days to do show the improvement one way or another. But to this point, um, actually, I believe I'm 9 days out. Had the surgery last Monday. It's Wednesday, so yeah, I can breathe. Amazing. It is amazing. I still can't blow my nose, but I don't have the stream of blood and all of the gunk that I use Q-tips to pull out of my nose is um, pretty much gone. I got a little bit out this morning after doing the saline rinse, but I didn't talk about that. But Q-tips, get a lot of Q-tips, and don't just stuff um, napkins or something up in your nose to try and get that gunk out. Use Q-tips to pull it out. I know that sounds gross, but for the pain that's going to be in your face, Q-tips are going to be your friend. You can gently get those up in there, swirl them around. It grabs a hold to all of the nastiness that's going to be in your head, all of the mucus and stuff that's just sitting there, and it'll come out in long strings, and um, it will give you relief. Also, they're going to give you an ointment to take with you to put in your nose. You can use the Q-tips to apply that ointment, and it's really not bad. It helps because it keeps it moist. Um, so all of those things that they tell you to do, yeah, make sure you do it. Make sure you do it. Just keep in mind, it's gonna hurt. It's gonna hurt. But I am finding that um, this pain may be for a reason, a great reason. Because if at the end of this thing, I'm not dizzy anymore, I'm not having the headaches because I don't have the infections, and I can breathe. Um, wow. I guess the other bright side to this thing is um, I use a CPAP machine when I sleep. Well, since I've done the surgery, I haven't been able to use my CPAP machine. Matter of fact, she told me outright no. Dr. Johnson said outright no, you will not use the CPAP machine. Um, Yesterday, after she suctioned my brain out, um, I did mention that I got the best sleep of my life. Yeah, yeah. No CPAP machine. I didn't wake up with a headache. I didn't wake up disoriented. None of that. So it may appear, it's still early, the science is still out, I guess you would say, but it may appear that I might not need that CPAP machine anymore for sleep apnea. Um, if that's the case, all the pain in the world, it's worth it. It's worth it. So if you are determining whether or not you're going to have sinus surgery, take into account the 2 to 3 weeks of recovery that it's going to take, and then make an educated decision. I believe I did the right thing.